Hey, it's Kate with Mount Vernon Consulting here with your monthly book recommendation. The purpose of these is to provide you with resources to make you a more successful employee, manager, and leader in the workplace. The book recommendation for this month is a book that has been on my to read list for many years, and I finally had the chance to sit down and read it in its entirety, and I highly recommend it. And the book is called Quiet. It is by Susan Cain and it was published in 2012. So let me illustrate a point right here. I want you to think for a minute that if you went to a conference recently, now we're back to in-person meetings. So you go to an in-person conference, you spend the whole day attending training sessions and meeting with vendors and networking with people. And at the end of that meeting or the end of that day, a potential business partner or a colleague, and someone says to you, hey, you want to come join us for dinner? Introverts of the world are generally the type of people who balk at that invitation because they really want to just go back to their hotel room, relax, order some room service, maybe go work out in the gym. They need to be able to have a little less stimulation so that they can process everything that they've been exposed to during the day. Extroverts, on the other hand, are generally the type of people who say, yep, give me 5 minutes. Let me drop off my bags in my hotel room. I'll meet you downstairs in the lobby. And they love to go, go, go because they get their energy from being around other people and other stimulation. As an extrovert myself, I had a really hard time always understanding why people wanted to go back to their hotel room or why they needed to go back to their desks after a meeting so that they could think things through. Extroverts, we love to verbally process things. We like to get ideas and thoughts and energy from other people. What's really interesting about this book is that Cain talks about this culture of personality that has evolved in our society over the last 150 years, where we place a lot of value in our culture on people who are magnetic and charismatic and very outgoing. And in fact, we actually generally perceive them to be very intelligent, even if they might not be so. Introverts, on the other hand, can sometimes get a little bit of a bad rep. But in reality, introverts are not shy people. They're not antisocial people. In fact, there are lots of people who you might not even realize are introverts because they fully function and go out and talk and interact with people. But at the end of the day, or at the end of something that's really intense, they need to process things and re energize by being around, she calls it less stimulation, right? So, what is really interesting is in our society, we place value on those outgoing, charismatic individuals. But she argues in this book that it's the introverts that really help us balance out the workplace. Because while the extroverts are out there socializing and talking and barreling over other people's thoughts and ideas, our introverts are typically the ones who are a little bit more observant. They're the ones that are able to identify trends and they bring those thoughts and opinions to the extroverted side of the world that maybe didn't notice any of that extra information because we were too busy babbling away and chatting with other people. So she makes a really good argument for why we need to have a balance of both introverts and extroverts in the workplace. There's also a lot of research in this book where it talks a lot about the neuroscience behind actually how our brains are functioning when you're an introvert and an extrovert and how we respond to stimuli. There is study after study after study that shows that brain waves are different in introverts and extroverts. So overall, I thought this book was absolutely fascinating. People who are introverts will love reading it because it will validate some of the things that you've been feeling and thinking for many years. People who are extroverts like myself, it's really beneficial for us to read a book like this so we can see where the other side is coming from and we can understand them a little bit better. You have nothing but positive things to gain from reading this book. So I highly recommend that you read it, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Again, the book recommendation for this month is Quiet by Susan Cain.